So I gave a little tease in a recent video about what had happened to my front yard. I've had a few questions about it. Actually, I'm gonna get in out of the wind and just have a conversation with you this way. So what happened with this front yard, basically the fairway of my front yard golf course, was 13 inches of rain last July. It just kept pouring and pouring and pouring, and that left us with about a 2-week time frame where the grass was pretty much wet 24/7 for most of that 2-week period. It just did not end. I'm pushing the limits of what I'm doing with ryegrass anyway, especially because where I'm located in the southern part of Iowa is pushing much more towards the transition zone now in terms of our weather patterns. Having ryegrass is already a risk in terms of getting through that summer heat, and not necessarily just the heat, but if you do run into something like this where there's just a ton of moisture, humid at night, 75 degrees at night, and it's wet, there's just not a lot you can do. Gray leaf spot resistance on ryegrass has come so far with genetics, but there's still a point that it just can't handle it anymore, and it can wipe out very large areas in a small amount of time. And that's always a risk that I knew going into it. I love the grass and I love the way that it looks. I like the way that it plays with the golf area as well. So I always knew that it's a possibility. I might have to reseed, overseed. Those are just the things that I was willing to accept. And so kind of the worst case scenario did happen where we had so much rain, and I could of course come out here and try to spray preventative fungicide, but it's a very costly endeavor for an area like that. And also I never anticipated having 13 inches of rain or the grass being as wet as it was for as long as it was. It's not necessarily something that you can really predict is going to happen, and so I don't honestly think in the end it probably would have made much of a difference, except me spending a lot of money on spraying and trying to prevent things that likely would have had some damage anyway. I had damage on every type of grass. I had damage on bluegrass, I had damage on fescue, I had damage on fine fescue. The only thing that I did not have damage on, which I had started my preventative program way ahead of this, which is probably lucky, was my bent grass green. So I was doing a very strict preventative program. Bent grass is already sort of finicky. I had started that way earlier, and so luckily through all that rain and everything, I crossed my fingers that I wasn't going to have major problems, and I made it through all of that. Made it through the first whole season there with the bent grass green without really any major issues with fungus or anything. So I'm very happy that that turned out the way that it did, but the rest of it, I basically had to overseed last fall nearly everything around the green, overseed all of my plot areas. I waited on this front yard just because of how large of an area it was, and we had an extremely dry fall. So I have irrigation around the green, I have irrigation on all of those other areas that I was able to complete the repairs on last fall, but I do not have irrigation out in this big fairway right now currently. So I was looking at the forecast in the fall, and I kept looking and looking and looking, and I just did not see a window where I could actually put the grass seed out and get some rains, get some fall temperatures, and have it grow in. There just was not a period there where it happened, and some years you will have that. So if you don't have any control of your irrigation, it just wasn't going to work for me to set the seed out there and hope that something was going to happen that just wasn't in the forecast. So it came into the springtime now. I took a look at it. I think I also had a bit of winter kill on what was left, but I wasn't worried about it at that point either because I knew that I had to do some fixes. Spring seeding, always a gamble. Always something that is not necessarily ideal in cool season grass, but what I've learned about having a property my size comes from a famous farmer saying that says, if you're going to wait until the perfect time to do something, you're probably never going to do it. And definitely I have learned that. If you have a small yard and you can take your time and avoid all those risks, that is great. Sometimes though, on a property like I have, or just things that need to get done and you just don't have time to do everything in a 2-week window, you have to go outside of that window and you have to just take the risk to go along with it. I planted a lot of grass seed last year in July, planted a ton in August. That all actually came through really well. Not ideal time frames or any of that, but you just go with what you can do. So right now, very early spring, but we have had some warm weather and it was looking like a window of some rain coming up. So I decided time to get this thing in the ground. Now there was a lot of dead material there on the surface, similar to what I had in my front yard, but not quite as much dead material. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do because I do not have a dethatcher that can cover this large of an area. I don't have one for my mower that I could just pull around right now or push around on the zero turn. So I decided to take my four-wheeler with my drag and go over it in a couple directions, try to drag off as much of that dead material on the top as possible. That actually worked really well. So I was left with a pretty decent surface that was ready for the seed. However, I really wasn't sure if I wanted to broadcast this out there because I didn't have any way of really covering the seed. I could have dragged it again and used some of the loose material that's up on top to maybe cover some of it. but it just didn't seem like the greatest idea. So I decided to reach out to a few local companies, and I actually found someone that had a tractor with a seeder on it. Perfect for what I needed for a large area. And so we decided to go that route and actually slice the seed in this time. There are some areas that are bare soil, that with some looser soil, that you're really not slicing the seed into anything because it's a lot of just loose dirt there. But at least for the rest of the areas, this is going to slice it into the ground and then roll it over after that and kind of push it down exactly where it needs to go without having too much of the seed just sitting up on the surface, being able to be affected much more by high winds, rainfall, and all that. So in the main area, I'm going with a 50-50 bluegrass rye. It's basically kind of a mix of the drought-tolerant cultivars that come from my elite bluegrass and my elite ryegrass, and mixing those together 50-50. The reason that I did 50-50, and I'm trying to accelerate this as much as possible because I have a golf tournament with my brothers coming up in later May. So having more ryegrass in the mix, knowing that I don't mind having more ryegrass, was going to help me to hopefully accelerate this process and have something ready for play by the end of May. I don't know what it's going to look like by that time. It's all going to depend on spring weather, but if we have to play off of a grass mat, we will do that, but I would love to have some natural grass if possible. The second thing I planted that I'm very, very excited about is a new product that I'm coming out in my seed line that is called Fairway Gold. This is something that I sort of drew inspiration from many native areas on golf courses, but I've been testing it for the past couple seasons around my own golf green and some other no-mow native type areas, kind of getting a sense of how it reacts to mowing at different times, what you can spray on it, what you can't, and learning some things about that. So now I am very excited to finally bring that into the market here. It's called Fairway Gold just because I wanted to line this along my fairway. It has a nice, beautiful gold color in the summertime, very wispy. And so finally I'm able to bring that out now and have that available for people. You can use it in your landscape for kind of a native ornamental type of grass look that doesn't really need much maintenance, or you can actually use this as a yard as well and let it grow out a little more, 4 to 5 inches even, and really only have to mow it a couple times a year. It will look very wispy and sort of overgrown grass look, but for some areas that don't really need mowing or don't need a lot of maintenance to them, that's where this type of thing really thrives and really comes in nicely. I have a new design for this whole fairway area. It's going to be utilizing a lot more of that Fairway Gold, and that's going to cut down on some of the grass area, cut down on some of the things that I need to water. And just after a couple years of understanding the area, I just feel like I didn't need as much turf grass as I had there. It's just a lot of maintenance and extra things that I didn't quite need. So we're gonna see how this all plays out with kind of more native areas mixed into the more manicured turf. So of course, if you've been following along for a while, you know that anytime I put seed on the ground, it's very likely that some kind of storm is going to pop up and kind of wreak havoc on that project. And this was really no different. It started out with just some rain chances, and then it turned into more thunderstorm chances, and it turned into even possibility of some severe weather. So the seed went into the ground, and I missed out on a big storm the first night, and I thought, okay, maybe my luck is changing on this. But a few days after that, I ran into a pretty heavy rainfall. So I've definitely got some washout here, obviously. Pretty good river running, so I'm trying to get it to direct. I wanted to turn the corner here and start heading down towards my pond. So it's getting caught up a little bit on this bank. You just need to carve that out a little bit more and start getting it to turn the corner a little faster. So this is just a waiting game now. Sit here and let things play out as they will, and I'll have to adjust to any washouts, any areas that had some difficulties from that after. But slicing in the seed, I think definitely was a good idea. Although some of it was still on the surface in some of these bare areas that I may have to fix. Much easier to fix things like that than it is to fix over 30,000 square feet that gets washed out, I'll tell you that. Stay tuned for more info on that Fairway Gold. I'm going to be showing a few areas of it that are more than a couple seasons old now, and going over some of the benefits of it, some things you should do, shouldn't do, as I've been learning a lot about the process of it along the way too. So thank you so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.